Hello and welcome to Live Simple, a podcast dedicated to those in the early stages of their spiritual awakening. First off, I'm so glad that you are here listening. My name is AJ. I am a singer, songwriter, and intuitive artist, and welcome. On today's episode, I want to take this opportunity to share a bit more about my story and why I've created Live Simple as a resource for those who are going through their spiritual awakening, and perhaps you're starting to wake up and realizing that life isn't exactly what you thought it was. Don't worry, I'll be explaining more of that as we go along. So let's begin. So before I share my story, I want to preface with what spirituality means to me. So before I jump into that, I do want to preface that everyone has their own individual path to spirituality, and that's what's so beautiful about the intuitive arts, is that everyone has their own way of expressing themselves. And from what I've gathered of beginning to get involved in the community is that it's a lot about honoring each individual's expression, if that makes sense. And so this is what my definition of spirituality and what it means to me. Okay. Spirituality is a quiet and subtle practice. It is not meant to be glitzy and external with grand gestures and big aha moments, but rather it is a gentle nudge towards thoughts or inspired actions with little to no care on where the path will lead. It's one step at a time, one thought at a time. When we begin to tune into the now, a simpler life comes to us naturally. When we cut out the drama, the external validation, the outside voices, we become stronger within. It takes commitment and a practice of allowing to welcome spirit into our hearts. One thing to know is that true source or spirit speaks with unconditional love and light. Tune into that voice that supports and leads you closer to love. So that excerpt that I just read to you is something that came to me when I was journaling on August 11th. So today, I think, oh my gosh, what is today? The 13th, so 2 days ago, I've been sitting with that, and that really rings true to what spirituality means to me. For some people, it might not resonate that way. Everyone has their own way of getting there. Which is beautiful about the intuitive arts. So, okay, it is time to share my journey, which I've got some coffee with me right now. I'm going to be very honest. This is probably attempt number 5 at doing this. I don't know what it is about it. I'm a little nervous to share my story. It's one thing to be telling your friends or your family knowing your story, but to ultimately be talking into a phone and then sharing that with whoever's listening is really cool, because how awesome is that? But also slightly terrifying. So I'm honoring how I'm feeling right now, and I'm just gonna let it flow, and I'm just gonna share with you. So for me, my spiritual journey, and again, spiritual journeys are a lifelong journey. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and so the journey always continues. But I guess I want to say my awakening is more so what I'm going to be talking about specifically today. So I had my spiritual awakening in 2016. I feel like I had a few different moments, and if you're resonating with this, then you either have also had, many moments of waking up more and more. And it continues on, which is really cool. So, excuse me. So 2016 was when I finally put the flag down on the ground and said, okay, I am finally going to live for myself. But a bit of context prior to that, I went to Simon Fraser University, which is on the west coast of Canada, and I was in their contemporary art program, which I specialized in theater performance, but it was so much more than a theater performance program. There were so many skills that I unconsciously developed that now are coming to the surface in my life. So that's everything from learning how to meditate, learning how to practice yoga, practice these things to tap into the present moment. So ultimately, I guess the best way I could describe that program that I was in was learning how to integrate the mind, body, and spirit was really what I took away from that. But it wasn't until 2016 that I started, I guess, if you can imagine being in an egg and then that first crack that comes through and that first beam of light that shines through the hole in the egg. I know that's a strange analogy, but that just came to me. So that was 2016 for me, because at that point I had left the day job that I was working. I made the choice that I wanted to do music full time, and I wanted to be a creative and an entrepreneur. And so that had happened. And then also the long-term relationship that I was in came to an end. And so all of the things that I thought I was working towards really weren't what I wanted. And so I'm very grateful that I was able to see that at 26 and realize, these choices I'm making now of, this relationship, this work, this financial situation, all of these things in my life are not in alignment with what it is that I really want to do. So why am I doing these things? And so, I'm going to be honest, it was a very painful time for me. It was really hard. I was just really confused on what it is that I wanted to do with life or with my life. And, that I knew that wasn't it. And so with that big breath, I took a step into the unknown. So when we step into the unknown, it is terrifying. Don't get me wrong, but there is also this beautiful dance that happens with the universe, because you're ultimately saying and putting it out there that, hey, I'm open for whatever opportunity is meant to be mine. I am ready for learning the lessons that I need to learn to become a stronger version of myself, to grow, to evolve, to line up with what I'm meant to be doing in this life. I started connecting with like-minded people that were on a similar path that I was on and I'm still on. And through that, I found my first, spiritual mentor or teacher online by the name of Abraham Hicks or Esther Hicks. And a lot of the work that Abraham talks about is using the law of attraction, which I had no idea what it was. And that'll be a different episode talking about the law of attraction. But so that was one of the main starting points for me, was listening to Abraham every single day and just changing my approach to life, changing my perspective, my mindset. And through that work, I was then able to have some really cool opportunities come my way, and opportunities still come my way. And it was really clunky at first, I'm not gonna lie. There's, it's kind of that trade-off when you put it out to the universe of like, hey, I want to grow, I want to become stronger, I want to, become this person that I know I'm meant to be. And yet, so the experiences that then come our way and the people that we then meet are teachers in a way, that we have something to learn from that relationship or from that friendship or from that failure, quote unquote, experience, or from those different work opportunities. And so when you're saying to the universe, hey, I want to become strong, then you're ultimately going to be given opportunities where you have to test that strength, and that can be very difficult. And so I was experiencing a number of those things. I made the jump to Nashville. As a songwriter, I wanted to learn how to craft the song and what it meant to be full-time in the music industry. And so I made the jump there in the summer of 2017 with nothing but a suitcase and a guitar, and just knowing a few people from my past trips there. And I've also cultivated some very beautiful and amazing friendships from people down there, songwriters, people in all different aspects of the industry. And that's an amazing gift within itself. And that'll be another episode. And so, I was having all these small signs come to me from the universe of like, yes, like you're starting to wake up, you're starting to create your own reality, and using the power of thought to help guide the next step or the next action.